Hello friends, today we will be studying the osteological features of the lumbar vertebrae. Now lumbar vertebrae are 5 in number and they can be classified as typical and atypical. The lumbar vertebra 1 to 4 are typical vertebrae while the 5th lumbar vertebra is atypical. Now what we have here are the lumbar vertebrae. Now let us first study the peculiar features of the lumbar vertebra. Now the lumbar vertebra has a huge and massive body as is seen here. The vertebral foramen is triangular. The spine is quadrangular. The superior articular processes are facing backwards and medially and they are concave, while the inferior articular processes are directed forwards and laterally and they are convex. The posterior-inferior part of the root of the transverse process has a rough projection and that is what is called as the accessory process. These are all the peculiar features of a lumbar vertebra. Now let us see the various parts and features of a typical lumbar vertebra. Now, as we said, the parts of any vertebra will be seen here too. So, this anteriorly placed is the body, then is the vertebral arch formed by the pedicle, the transverse processes, the pair of laminae which join to form the spinous process or the spine, and at the junction of the pedicle and the transverse process we see the superior articular processes and the inferior articular processes, and between the body and the vertebral arch we see the vertebral foramen. So these were parts of the vertebra. Now let us see each of them in detail. The body of a typical lumbar vertebra is large. Its transverse diameter is much more than the anteroposterior diameter and the shape is bean shaped. We then go on to study the pedicle. The pedicle is short and directed posteriorly. We then see the laminae. The laminae are short and thick and they are directed posteromedially. The spinous process or the spine is quadrilateral in shape. The transverse process is tapering and thin, and this is homologous with the ribs seen in the thoracic region. The articular processes superior and inferior. The superior articular facet is concave, directed backwards and medially, while the inferior articular facet is convex, directed forwards and laterally. The distance between the two superior articular facets is more as compared to the distance between the two inferior articular facets, and this is seen in the first, second and third lumbar vertebra, while in the fourth lumbar vertebra the distance between the superior articular facets is same as the distance between the inferior articular facets. The vertebral foramen lies between the body and the vertebral arch and is triangular in shape. These are the morphological features. Now let us see the attachments to the various parts of the typical lumbar vertebra. The anterior surface of the body of the vertebra gives attachment in the midline to the anterior longitudinal ligament. The crura of the diaphragm are attached to the anterior surface on either side of the anterior longitudinal ligament, the right crus being attached to the upper three lumbar vertebrae, while the left crus is attached to the upper two lumbar vertebrae. The psoas major muscle and its tendinous arches are attached to the upper and lower margins of the sides of the bodies of the typical lumbar vertebrae. The posterior surface of the body gives attachment to the posterior longitudinal ligament. The pedicles are short and strong. The inferior vertebral notch is much more deeper as compared to the superior vertebral notches. We then go on to see attachments to the laminae. The ligamentum flavum is attached to the upper border and inner surface or anterior surface of the two laminae, while the posterior surface of the laminae give attachment to the deep muscles of the back. The posterior border of the spinous process gives attachment to the supraspinous ligament in the midline and the posterior lamella of thoracolumbar fascia on either side. The superior and inferior borders of the spinous process give attachments to the interspinous ligaments in the midline and to the interspinalis muscles on each side. The sides of the spinous process give attachment to the deep muscles of the back. We then see attachments to the transverse process. The medial and the lateral arcuate ligaments are attached to the tip of the transverse process. The middle lamella of thoracolumbar fascia is attached to the tip of the transverse processes. The anterior surface of the transverse process is marked by a faint ridge which gives attachment to the anterior lamella of the thoracolumbar fascia. The anterior surface medial to the attachment of the thoracolumbar fascia gives attachment to the psoas major, while the area lateral to the ridge receives attachment of the quadratus lumborum muscle. The posterior surface of the transverse process gives attachment to the deep muscles of the back. The upper and lower borders of the transverse process give attachment to the intertransversarii muscles. The accessory process gives attachment to the medial intertransverse muscle. We then go on to the superior articular process. The posterior border of the superior articular process is marked by a roughened elevation called as the mammillary process, and this process gives attachment to the medial intertransverse muscle and to deep muscles of the back. These were all the muscle attachments to a typical lumbar vertebra. Let us now study the fifth lumbar vertebra, which is the atypical lumbar vertebra. The features here are, it has a thick and short transverse process which is connected to whole of the pedicle. And posteriorly, the distance between the inferior articular processes is more than the distance between the superior articular processes. The body of the fifth lumbar vertebra is much more deeper anteriorly as compared to posteriorly. And as far as attachments are concerned, the iliolumbar ligament is attached to the tip of the fifth lumbar vertebra at the transverse process. Other attachments of the fifth lumbar vertebra are similar to those seen in the typical lumbar vertebra. Thus, we have seen the various morphological features of the typical as well as atypical lumbar vertebrae. Thank you.